Hello and welcome to the Franchise Tag Podcast with me, your host, Freddie Hall. I hope you're doing all okay out there. Joined once again with Adam and Andrew back on the Franchise Tag Podcast, back live again. Again, we are brand new to live, so hopefully there won't be any hiccups, but you know, these things happen. We are getting used to it, but we're going to be having a lot of fun with our main man, Fernando Ramirez, who is the Chargers reporter for Sports Illustrated, co-host of the Compass on the Beat podcast, a real knowledgeable guy about the LA Chargers. Obviously, we swing round to pick 13. We're going to be talking back-to-back offensive linemen. It's going to be Rashawn Slater. We're going to be talking about today, and then Elijah Vera Tucker later on in the week. Fernando, it's been a crazy couple of months. It's been crazy with COVID. You seem in very good spirits. Have you been getting on all okay?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely doing better. I mean, some restrictions are getting lifted over here, so that's all good. And yeah, I've been catching up, going up to, I still live in San Diego, so I drive up to go watch the Chargers in Costa Mesa. It's about an hour and 15-minute drive. So, go up there, been checking them out, checking out the team, how they're doing and everything. So, I appreciate you guys having me on. I thought we were talking Euros, but I guess we're here talking Chargers. So that's definitely a good second place to start then.
Well, hopefully we won't be finishing. Well, maybe we might be happy finishing second place. We can't decide. We don't know who we want in the next round. Only what are we now? An hour and 20 away from kickoff against Czech Republic. Very exciting. All the pubs are filling up, as you can imagine, and lots of England shirts knocking around. We probably will talk more Euros. We can definitely talk more Euros later on.
I was at an English pub. I was at an English pub for the first game. For the first matchup in the Euros, and I was excited, man. The energy, everybody, it was 6 a.m. our time, and people brought that energy at 6 a.m. People were drinking at 6 a.m. I'm like, hey, this is my place, this is my pub to be at. It's called Shakespeare's Pub. So hey, for when they move on to the next bracket, I'm gonna be there at Shakespeare's cheering on England 100%.
Shakespeare's Pub in San Diego. We all need to note that if anything, we are consistent with drinking and bringing energy about soccer, I suppose, or football for you guys. If soccer for you guys, football for us.
Yeah.
But we'll first start off with a massive story that's come out today, obviously about Carl Nassib, the defensive end for, I believe he's at the Raiders at the minute. And we would just like to congratulate Carl Nassib on his bravery and coming out on social media. More sportsmen in whatever sport you're in need to follow suit. I'm sorry, I keep looking down because I like to sometimes go off piece with my words, but I think sometimes we need to write these things down to really convey the message that has been put out by Carl Nassib. And every time that someone in the LGBT community or anyone in the world stands up and says, I am who I am, and is unforgiving about who they are and is true to who they are, then it makes the whole world a lot better place. And it's standing up and saying, I am who I am, and not being afraid to speak out helps millions of people around the world who are affected by not being able to be who they can truly be in the world. And it gives them the confidence that whether you're young, old, it doesn't matter really. It's people coming together, and that is the most important thing with this sort of business. So the franchise tag, Fernando Ramirez, myself, Andrew, Adam are all behind Carl Nassib with the message that he is coming out with, and that more sportsmen, no matter what sport, NFL, we talked about the Euros with soccer / football, rugby, cricket, other sports, Olympic sports, when more people come out and stand up and say, I am who I am, and unforgiving about that, then that makes the world a whole much better place and influences so many millions of people to not be afraid. And that is the most important thing of all that's happened today, and hopefully will happen in the future of all the sports that are going on in the world today.
I think the one important thing about it is that we do understand quite how big a watershed moment it actually is. Like, he will become the first openly gay NFL player to play a regular season game. This has never happened before. And this is huge, and it's massive for everyone. And I really hope that he gets nothing but positivity from it, because I do fear that there could be a backlash, as unfortunately there always is, and it's just not something that's needed now. It's like the world's a hard enough place as it is, and he doesn't need any backlash from it. So nothing but respect for him and what he's come out with, and hopefully it will encourage more people to follow in his footsteps.
You're right. It's go on. No, after you, please, Fernando.
Oh no! I was just gonna say. I mean, he won't have any problem in the locker room. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I played sports when I was younger, and I mean, now that I see NFL locker rooms, NBA locker rooms, Major League Baseball, they're all such a tight knit group that he's gonna have no problem. They're your brothers no matter what. So his teammates will treat him with respect. I'm sure the opposing team will treat him with respect. I guess the only questionable thing is the fans, but. Yeah. But other than that, all we can hope for is that everybody treats him with respect. Because I mean, hey, he didn't have to put that out there. He didn't have to come out and say who he is, but he wanted to. He shared it with the world, and now I think all we can do is embrace him as a fellow brother or sister. You have to embrace who you are. I mean, we all have things that separate us, but I think that those different personalities, the things that are different about each of us as individuals, is what should bring us together as people. So. I'm definitely proud of him. Congratulations to him, and I wish him nothing but the best.
For sure. And I think the NFL, with regarding fans who are maybe discriminatory or negative towards it, I think NFL teams, the NFL itself, will act very swiftly. I think NFL groups who are on social media, the people who are admin for them groups have acted very swiftly on things of this nature before, especially in the UK anyway. I can't comment upon the US groups, but in the UK, there has been definitely a backlash when people have been negative in that way. And I think that, long may that continue. It shouldn't be in sport. It is in sport, unfortunately. But what we need to do as a community and as people who support sports is to address it, to kick out the negativity, to tell people they're wrong and they shouldn't be, being negative towards people. And that's the most important thing that there is. So the franchise tag definitely supports you, Carl Nassib, and great for you for being able to come out and be who you are and stay, standing strong, especially in these times when it has been so crazy and, at a time where we do all need to come together. Let's move on, though, to the LA Chargers. That's why we're here, Fernando, isn't it? The LA Chargers, your team. You live in San Diego, but you make that commute up to Los Angeles still to go and see the Chargers, to go and talk about the team, to go and report about the team. And obviously, this goes back to April. Rashawn Slater at number 13. You're sitting there. I don't know whether you were sat with family, friends, whether you were reporting on it, but his name gets called out. There's so much movement before you guys even pick. I mean, there's suddenly the draft gets all buzzy because people are moving into divisional trades. It was a crazy little spot to be in. And then you get the Chargers pick. You think, oh, well, there's been lots of movement. Maybe the Chargers are going to move out as well. But no, they go and pick Rashawn Slater, offensive lineman, offensive tackle. What was your reaction on the night to the pick?
So Gilbert Manzano and I, who's my co-host for Compas on the Beat, we were together covering the draft. And I mean, once Carolina passed on Rashawn, because I thought Penei Sewell was going to go to Detroit. Then I thought, okay, here goes Rashawn right after him. And then Gilbert and I started trying to see, okay, who is it going to be? Because, I mean, as beat reporters, you have to look around and see, okay, what are the possibilities? So when Carolina passes on him, I told Gilbert, I'm like, hey, could this guy fall on their laps? And then we see Philadelphia trade up. And I thought, oh, maybe Philadelphia's trading up to re-energize their offensive line, because we all know Philadelphia needs it. Carson Wentz got hit a lot last year. Jalen Hurts got hit. A lot of their quarterbacks got hit. So I thought maybe they would do it. They go Devonta Smith. So I'm like, okay, maybe. And then Dallas was the last one that I thought maybe Dallas could get him. They passed on Micah Parsons, and I look at Gilbert and I'm like, yep, he just fell right into the Chargers' lap. They're lucky, because I thought the Chargers might trade up and maybe get Penei, because I thought, like, you have Herbert, Penei went to Oregon also, you bring him in, the familiarity there and everything. And I had asked during his pro day, I asked Penei, hey, what would it mean for you to be able to play with Justin? He's like, he gets a smile on his face and he's like, to play with Herb again? He's like, that'd be a dream come true. So I thought, oh, wow, maybe it aligns and they both play together. But no, it was Rashawn. And then Rashawn gets drafted and he gets interviewed by ESPN and they ask him, what's the first thing you want to say to Justin Herbert? He's like, I got your back, man. Nobody's going to get to you because of me. And I'm like, oh, wow, like that. And Chargers Twitter was energized. You could tell they were energized. And it really just reaffirmed what the Chargers had been doing. Brandon Staley has come in here, the new head coach, and he has done everything he's needed to protect his quarterback. Justin Herbert right now is the investment. You have to invest in Justin Herbert. Last year, he got hit way too many times. There were times where he would get hit, and like us beat reporters would look around and be like, "Oh, is he going to get up? Is he going to get up?" And he would get up, but you could tell he was dealing with some stuff. He ends up, so the Chargers get Corey Linsley, an all-pro center. They pay him top dollar. They end up getting Ode Abuji as a right guard. They end up getting Matt Filer. They shore up the offensive line again. What were they missing? That left tackle. Now they have their franchise left tackle, and now they really have an offensive line they can go out there and compete every Sunday with.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, I never had him passing the Panthers on any of my mock drafts. And then when he was falling slightly, I really wanted him at the Giants. It was one of those players that I was like, wait, can we get him? Can we have him on our O-line? Because we could do with a player like him as well, I reckon. There's been a lot of footage of his time at Northwestern. Obviously, him going up against Ohio and Chase Young. That's well documented. Everyone's seen it. But what impressed you the most about his time at college?
I think it was you know what impressed me? Not just his time in college. He went to a high school where they only won 2 games his senior year. I think his junior year, they only won 3 games. So I'm like, how did this kid get recruited? Like when you go to those, like, I'm sorry, but crappy schools, like you don't usually get recruited. How did he get it? And I mean, you can tell off the talent. His dad played in the NBA. Oh my God, we were watching the draft, right? And I'm like, who is that humongous guy next to him? It was his dad, Reggie Slater. He played in the NBA for like 10 seasons. And he put up some decent numbers, but he's humongous and he's like 6'8". So what impressed me was, I mean, and this is what Rashawn Slater said from his own mouth, that Chase Young game put me on the map. And that's what I was impressed with. The way he was able, because they switched him that game. Wherever Chase Young was, that's where Rashawn was. Left tackle, right tackle, left tackle, right tackle. They were moving him around the whole game, and the whole game he controlled Chase Young. So the NFL schedule makers, I guess, said, hey, what do you want week 1? You know what? We're going to throw Chase Young at you again. And week 1, they get Washington. He gets to go up against Chase Young. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. But I really think his maturity, the way he was really able to be the best, and he told us, I am the best tackle coming out in this draft. So I was very impressed with that, his mental toughness, the way he was really able to grow the last few years. That Chase Young film put him from maybe a second round, third round tackle to a first round left tackle. So he really put himself on the map. And I think the Chargers should be really excited about what they got at left tackle. And we talked to Corey Linsley, and he said he's very impressed with the mentality that Rashawn has. So the Chargers really got a good one, and they didn't even have to move up. All they did was just wait, falls right into their laps.
Yeah, definitely. I think you touched a little bit on something I picked up on there. When we previously spoke about Penei Sewell on the show, the guy that we had on spoke about him. Obviously, he's moving to right tackle, and how Penei Sewell might find that difficult to move to right tackle. What impressed me loads about Rashawn Slater is, like you just said, he can play anywhere across the line and play it well and impressive. So, that going into the NFL, I think is worth it weight in gold, that you can play him left tackle, right tackle, and he's even potentially, if you wanted, you could move him in one of those guard slots and he could be an absolute elite guard, because I think he fits the bill and the size of a guard better than a tackle. But the way that he can move across the line is just incredible.
Yeah, no, and what I've understood about Brandon Staley as he's come in is versatility. He wants it everywhere. Everybody thinks, oh, maybe the corners, the safeties. No. He's talking about the whole team. So if they needed Rashawn, because the right tackles, if like the right tackle's getting taken advantage of, they could easily move him to right tackle and have him help. And I don't think, like you said, it would be a difficult transition for him. I feel like he understands every single position on the field. And that's what Brandon said when they were looking at him, was that he was a 5-position player. He could play any single one of those positions, and they felt like he could be an all-pro at every one of them. So really, we're about to see something different. I think what the Chargers are about to do is something different that maybe you saw when McVay went into the Rams, where you're like, oh, wow, look at everything he's doing. He's taking stuff from different offenses, different defenses, and look what he's throwing out there. I feel like that's what we're going to see with Brandon Staley. They're going to bring in, like he said, on offense. On offense, they want to run a style of Green Bay San Francisco, New Orleans, and some of the stuff that they did last year. That's what their offense is going to be. To me, that means that the run game is going to be like San Francisco, where they move pieces around, they shift, they do different kind of movement to open up holes for their running backs. That's something that Rashawn's really going to be able to do. All the linemen that they got are guys that are versatile and can do different things like that. Matt Filer played tackle. Now he's at guard. Ode Abuja has played center. He's played tackle and he's played guard. Brian Bulaga's basically only played tackle, but I mean, he's also one of those versatile athletic guys that can move. So I think this is going to be a really interesting offensive line. And like I said, the different combinations that they can do, that they can move around, that's just going to help them. And getting a guy like Rashawn Slater literally is a centerpiece for this offensive line.
I mean, how well do you feel that he will integrate into the NFL? And also, do you think that having a defensive-minded coach like Brandon Staley is a positive for him? I mean, he, like you've said, he's all up for versatility and wanting everyone around. So do you think that will help him?
You know what? I look at, and I mean, I know we shouldn't look at it, but one of the most successful coaching quarterback combinations has been Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Bill Belichick is a defensive-minded coach, and he asked Tom Brady on offense. I know we're talking Slater, but let me shift a little bit to Herbert. So, Brandon Staley was actually a quarterback in college. And growing up, he was a quarterback. He shifted to defense. I asked him, why'd you shift to defense? He's like, because I knew exactly what the quarterback was thinking, where he would go with things. And I thought I could take advantage of that, knowing my background. Now, when it comes to who he has at quarterback now we can think like a defensive-minded coach and help Justin see what defenses are going to do. Everybody talks about Justin last year and, oh my God, he had a great year. Yes, but he did struggle. He struggled against New England, against Miami, and against Buffalo. Their disguises, their zero blitzes. That's what really confused them in a sense. So that's something that I'm sure Brandon has already sat down with them. They've gone over the film and they've been through that. And then, I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but Drew Brees sat down with him. They studied film. They went through things. So, I mean, these are only positives that are going to help Justin Herbert out. Now, when you talk about the offensive line, yes, it's going to help them out tremendously. Look who Brandon's coached: Khalil Mack. He's coached Leonard Floyd, Aaron Donald. He's coached Von Miller. Having those guys and him being an outside linebackers coach is really going to help him show the offensive line, hey, this is what these guys do well. He's going to break down every single position and say, this is what he likes to do. That's what he's going to do. And this is how you can combat it. So really having a young guy like Brandon Staley who understands exactly what the opposing team is going to do, that's really going to help them out. And the thing is, Brandon's brought in coaches that are exactly like him. They understand the two positions. So his secondaries coach understands what the receivers are doing. His offensive line coach was a former defensive lineman. So really he has guys that are versatile and understand the different positions. So I think it's only going to help a guy like Rashawn Slater out to have somebody like Brandon Staley as his head coach.
Now, obviously, we've touched on how excited we are about him and how positive all his strengths coming into the Chargers. But what do you think his weaknesses are, and what do you think like his challenges in his first year are going to be?
He's going to go up against a lot of really good talent. He really is. He's going to have. I mean, in the division alone, you have Frank Clark. You have the Raiders have some good Yannick
Ngakoue. Yeah,
Yannick Ngakoue. Yeah, there you go. Thank you for the assist. So he has him. He's going to go up against Bradley Chubb, and he's going to go up against Von Miller. Von Miller now is at 33 years old, but he is still a challenging guy to go up against. So it is going to be tough. They're going to have a lot of challenges. They're going to have a lot of pass rushes. They play the Patriots again. They play some of these guys, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're playing a lot of really good pass rushers. So hopefully he's prepared for that, because it is going to be a tough year. Just like I was saying the other day, man, the Chargers defense plays a lot of really tough running backs this year. They're going to have to go up against different styles almost weekly. And then I turn and I look and I go, wow, they're going to play a lot of really good pass rushers. So hopefully he's up to speed with that. And I mean, I think that's the only thing that's really a weakness, not a weakness, but like something that I see and I'm like, oh, he could struggle. And I mean, he's a rookie. rookies are going to struggle. I mean, like I said, Justin Herbert, everybody thought he was the perfect quarterback last year, but I'm like, whoa. There were a couple of games where he struggled, and struggling's not bad. That's where you learn. I've always felt personally that I struggle in my darkest times, or not that I struggle in my darkest times, obviously. I feel like I learn more about myself when I struggle than when I'm doing well. So I think that's kind of how Rashawn is. And it's funny, we had him on Compas on the Beat, and he was like, yeah, I just met Justin, all this stuff. So when he jumps on the podcast with us, I'm like, guys, there was a lot of injuries at Chargers headquarters because Rashawn met Justin and employees were coming up to him and he's blocking them out of the way. He's shoving guys. He's like, oh, yeah, I shoved this guy right through the water cooler and he fell over and he was just going with it. He's a good guy, a great personality. I really think he's going to fit in well with this team. But Andrew, when you ask me weakness, I think that's going to be the only thing all the pass rushers are going to have to go up against. But he seems like he's up to the bill and he's excited about this new journey that he has. And he's excited about the learning from Corey Linsley, Matt Filer, Brian Bulaga. He's excited about learning. And that's the most positive thing, him coming in.
Yeah, definitely. I think through the whole of this Face of the Franchise series we've been doing, he's another one of the players that I've really, really struggled to pick up on pinpointing an actual physical weakness in his play. I think when you look deeper into it and you kind of read what other people are saying that maybe he's too short, coming in at 6'3", and maybe his length in his arms isn't quite there to play as a pro tackle in the NFL. Is that a concern for you at all, or do you think he can overcome it like he has done in college?
I think he can overcome. I've always thought that the short arms thing is kind of overrated. I remember Melvin Ingram in 2012 when he came into the league and he was drafted. I remember everybody was talking about his short arms, but you saw what he did. He was able to use his speed, his athleticism. He was able to do different things to kind of get around that. That's what Rashawn's going to have to find. If there's going to be something like that, Rashawn's going to have to find a way to be able to hone him down. But heck, I think he's going to be fine. I don't see really that being an issue. He said he actually was asked about it. He's like, you know what? I'm pissed off about people talking about my short arms. He's like, and it's not even that short. He's like, maybe I'm a couple of centimeters or a couple of maybe an inch off. He's like, but that's nothing. He's like, I'll make up for it with my aggression and my toughness. And I was like, oh wow. I'm like, dang. I was like, Incredible Hulk over here trying to. He's just gonna be smashing right through people. But yeah, no. I feel like when it comes to the combine and all that stuff, I feel like we over and under evaluate athletes. They're in shorts. They're doing the jumping up and hitting their verticals and all that stuff. I just feel like that's really a time that we shouldn't really evaluate as much as we do. But I mean, I guess it's like little by little you're getting the information out and you're kind of seeing who's good, who's not. But I don't think Rashawn really cares about that. I think he's really gonna come in and he's gonna bust his butt, and I feel like he'll be fine regardless of his height or how short his arms are. I just feel like his game will translate to the NFL and he'll be fine.
I was watching some YouTube video earlier, breaking down his film. And the guy who was talking over the top of it had a lot of followers, obviously knew exactly what he was talking about, and said, if I just told you, if you had never seen the guy in your life, never knew anything about him, no face, no height, no tangibles, no anything, but if I just told you he made Chase Young look silly, would you draft him? And he said, absolutely. Every single team would not even, if you just said that to them and they hadn't seen anything about this guy, didn't know where he played or anything like that, then they would draft him still. And I think that's almost like you say about the things of the combine and how great he looks, and it's sitting it out last year. I couldn't even find really stats on him, to be honest with you, other than that he allowed no sacks in his junior year and 11 starts. I couldn't find really anything, but just knowing that every franchise is going to go, yeah, we'll take him, because it doesn't matter about the short arm swing, which the short arm swing in my mind, every time an analyst says that, I just get this picture of a T-Rex in Jurassic Park. I just imagine this 6-foot giant with the tiniest arms in the world, when really we're talking about a guy whose reach is so huge, but in the NFL world is short. But he did say that in that film, they did say specifically about Chase Young having long arms for a defensive end, and he dealt with him just fine. I mean, I think you're right about some of the guys that he's going to come up against in the division, though. I do think it's going to be a bit of a welcome to the NFL moment. But this guy's just spectacular. He is spectacular.
Yeah. No, and I love the movie references on here. I'm with you guys. That's what I'm about. I'm all about those movie references, but those metaphors. No, I'm definitely with you. And the thing is that the Chase Young thing. I mean, it was just incredible the way he was able to control him and kind of and keep him. But the one thing I feel like a lot of people aren't really talking about, and I've been thinking about it, is he gets to practice with Joey Bosa a lot. Joey is one of those guys, if you come up to him and you ask him for advice, he will stand there and he will help you. I really think he's going to reach out to Joey, and maybe during training camp, we're going to see videos, and it'll be shot by me, by the way. We're going to see videos of him and Joey after practice working out together and everything, because I think he really wants to learn, and he wants to learn how to be the best. Well, dude, if you want to be the best, go there with Joey Bosa and learn from him. Joey has so much knowledge, and it's funny because some people think, oh, Joey's just a guy that just goes and hits the quarterback. No, Joey, there's a method to his madness. Joey really, I remember last year against, was it the Bengals? It was after New Orleans. He said that he's like, man, because in that game he had a hurt shoulder, hurt knee, hurt ankle, and I can't remember what else. He was like, I was the bionic man, basically. But he went in for a couple of snaps. He played about 20, 25 snaps. He had a crucial sack. And I asked him, Joey, what did you see on that play? He's like, well, the tackle was tipping his cap about what he was going to do. He's like, if he was just going to straight up stay there with me, he would move his leg this way. If he was really planning on jumping out with me the whole way, he was tipping his cap and doing, like, he would have his elbow out like that. I'm like, you can tell that just by their stance. He's like, oh, I can tell a lot by their stance. I'm like, oh, wow. So that's going to be a guy that I honestly, if I'm Rashawn, that's who I'm talking to. I'm going to say, Joey, how can I get my game to the next level? And I know he's only a rookie, but having a guy like Joey can really help elevate him and can really help him, especially from a pass rushing sense.
Do you feel that the drafting of Rashawn Slater and also the building of the O-line throughout the offseason, I mean, do you feel that this is kind of the Chargers' way of almost not only giving Herbert the chance to succeed, but also almost putting a little bit of pressure onto him as like, look, you are the guy, we are building for you. And do you think that this is like, I know he was only a rookie and you don't want to put too much pressure on, but you know, this is it now. We believe in you.
This is going to be incredible. This is going to be incredible. I don't know if you guys have read this, but I've had this stat for a couple of weeks now. This is Rashawn Slater. This is Justin Herbert's 6th different offensive coordinator dating back to college. Since his freshman year, this is his 6th different offensive coordinator. This is his 5th different head coach in that time as well. Justin has adapted to every single environment he's been in. That's why I don't get nervous that if he's going to pick up this offense. I really think he's going to pick it up. He's going to pick it up quick. He won the Heisman Trophy for intelligence when he was at Oregon. So it's funny because I interviewed his dad, and his dad told me, he's like, the little slugger, he'll pick it up if it's challenging. He's like, if it's challenging to him, he's going to get excited. He's going to want to pick up the offense. I feel like that's what's happening right now with Justin. He is so excited about this Joe Lombardi offense that he's really picking it up. But when it comes to Adam, what you asked me, I really think that a lot of fans are thinking that Justin's going to throw 50 times a game. I really think the reason why they built this offensive line, not just to protect Justin, they want to open up the run game. That's why they have 4 different running backs that fit 4 different styles. They're going to be a lot like San Francisco. San Francisco would throw out Mozart, Tevin Coleman. They throw out different running backs at you, and they see who's going to have the hot hand, and then they ride that hot hand. So I feel like that's why they built up this offensive line also the way they did. Corey Linsley's a very good running center or run game center. Brian Bulaga is also very good with the run. So is O'Day. So they have pieces to be able to run the ball well. So I really think that there's going to be a balance to this. I think it'll be probably 51-49, the same thing, because people think, oh, Anthony Lynn's gone, that means they're not going to run the football anymore. No, they're going to run it, and they're going to run it often. It's just about being smart about the way you're going to run the football. Not saying Anthony wasn't smart with it, but he just didn't have the offensive line. Now these guys have the offensive line to be able to do different things, but I don't think they're going to try and put pressure on Justin. Justin says he definitely doesn't feel any pressure from anybody. He's like, I stay away from everything online. He's like, I don't read anything on Twitter. I don't even have a Twitter. He's like, I don't read anything on Instagram. He's like, the only people I listen to are my coaches, my family, and my teammates. And so none of those three are going to put any pressure on him. All three are just going to tell him, go out there and have fun. Go out there and do your best. So that's honestly the best way. If you notice, the athletes that really look on Twitter and look on Instagram and see what people are saying about them, those are the ones that tend to struggle sometimes. And when things get difficult, it feels like everything's crashing down. But Justin just doesn't seem like that kind of guy. So I think he's going to be fine. I really think that he's going to flourish really in this offense. The only question is, and people have asked me, what's a good season for Justin? And I look and I'm like, well, if he has a similar season to last year and they're in the playoffs, heck, kid, you just had a great year. And they're like, really? I'm like, okay, let me put it to you like this. If he has a season like Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes their second year where they just blew up through 50 touchdowns and almost no interceptions and had a huge year and won maybe NFL MVP, hey, I could see that. What if he had a similar season to this year? I could see that too. I don't see him doing worse at all. I think he's really going to flourish. This offense looks like it's going to be very dynamic. Mike Williams is supposedly going to start playing the Michael Thomas role for the Chargers in that Saints offense. So I really think that this offense is on the way up, and I feel like it could be one of the maybe a top 5 offense next year if everything falls in place. And obviously this team goes healthy into the season.
Do you really think there would be a top 5 with the likes of, you've lost Hunter Henry. I know you've brought in Jared Cook, but he's 34 now? Is at the old end of career? Yeah, you've got Keenan and Mike Williams, but is there that third wide receiver? And also, do you think it's a bit unfair that people have said, like we've said it on here already, that you've dramatically improved the offensive line? I looked at the stats earlier for your offensive line last year. It isn't bad. You were like, 17th in sacks. You only allowed 34 sacks, which is really good. And also you allowed Justin Herbert to get touchdowns. You got 31 touchdowns, which was 10th in the league. He got 4,329 passing yards. That was 6th in the league. He was completion percentage 14th in the league. The offensive line allowed, Justin Herbert is fantastic, don't get me wrong, and he could have made magic out of anything, I think, behind that line. But the line wasn't bad, I didn't think. Do you think it's a bit of an unfair criticism of the offensive line?
No, the offensive line was there. Were that game against Tampa Bay? I don't know if you got that was the game that I really was impressed with Justin. In that game, Justin was having 10-step dropbacks, and the touchdown pass to Tyron Johnson, the first one, Justin holds it until the last minute. He has Vita Vea and JPP on him. And he waits. As soon as he throws it, he gets whacked. That's the thing. There's unnecessary hits. Justin was waiting for the receiver to get open, and he had to wait until he was going to take a big shot. That's what the Chargers don't want. They don't want those big shots for him to take. Another thing is Justin couldn't pass within the pocket. It was hard for him to stand in the pocket because it was collapsing too quick. Trey Turner just wasn't doing well. They had that was another thing too. They had a revolving door at right tackle and right guard because Brian Bulaga and Trey Turner couldn't stay healthy. And then at the end of the season, when they were healthy, they were out of shape. So it really was hard for them to kind of get their feet under them. But when you go to the offense, I really think they're going to be a lot better because these guys are going to put them in a place for them to succeed. So what does that mean? That means that they're going to put them in positions that they're going to be able to beat the cornerback or beat the opposing player. This is the thing about the Chargers. Their best position right now or their deepest is receiver. So I think Josh Palmer is a lot better than what people think he is. At Tennessee, he didn't have a quarterback any of his years, and he was still making spectacular grabs. So I think if you spread them out and you put Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer, Jared Cook, Mike Williams, and maybe like a Tyron Johnson or a Jalen Guyton, those guys, those two guys especially, how fast they are, they're going to come open. So that's the thing where the Chargers didn't take advantage last year. They need to be able to spread them out, and that's what this offense is going to be. They need to spread them out, hide Tyron Johnson or hide Jalen Guyton somewhere, and let them just go get the ball, and they're going to be wide open. So that's really what I think this offense is going to do. I understand the Hunter Henry thing. He was a really good tight end. He blocked very well. That was an underrated part of his game. But I think they're going to be okay with Jared Cook. The only thing is, and this has been my criticism of the team and everything. I think they should still go get Zach Ertz. Everybody looks at me and they're like, "Well, why would you want Zach Ertz?" I'm like, "Why wouldn't you?" Zach Ertz and the combination of Zach Ertz and Jared Cook would do this team a lot of wonders. It would help them especially out because you can never have too many weapons. That's been my thing. Last year I wrote an article saying, if I'm the Chargers, no matter what happens, you can never have too many weapons for Justin Herbert to throw to. So, what's his name? Ertz is owed $7 million. Dude, you have $21 million in cap space. Bring him in for one season. He does well. Okay, maybe you reward him with a contract extension. If not, what did you lose? A 4th-round draft pick? Yeah, you can let him walk or whatever, but I feel like Zach Ertz would really do well in this offense, and that's just been my only thing, that if Zach Ertz gets released or if they're looking to trade him, if I'm the Chargers, I'm right there banging on the door saying, hey, I want him. Yes, you paid Jared Cook, but why wouldn't you want Zach Ertz and Jared Cook, 2 of the guys that get in the end zone like crazy, and you add more weapons to this offense? Like I said, they stacked that. They have really good running backs. They have really good receivers, but tight end is the only position where you're kind of like, what's going to happen there? So I really think that they should go out and get another weapon at tight end. But I mean, that's why I'm behind here, and I'm the one writing while the GM is in there doing his thing. But if I was Tom Telesco, I would try and give my quarterback as many weapons as he could have this year, because they're in line, honestly, to have a better season than what they did last year.
Yeah, I think you picked up a really underrated tight end in the draft as well from Georgia. You picked up Trey McKay, didn't you? I think he's really underrated, obviously, because he wasn't there for a lot of the receiving plays. I think he's a solid blocker and a solid tight end. So maybe they can develop him.
You know who he reminds me of? Virgil Green. Virgil Green was with the Chargers. He was with them last year. Oh my God, it was terrible against the Jets. He came wide open and he catches a touchdown pass, and I see him on the ground. I'm like, what happened? I look up, I saw he had broken his ankle. I'm like, oh, like he had just come down on it wrong and he broke it. But I think, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with having a Virgil Green. Virgil Green is that guy that's going to be nasty. He's going to put in the work. He's going to do all the blocking. He's going to help you with all that. But then also on the receiving side, he could help you out. And that wasn't a shot at Trey McKitty or Donald Parham. They're both solid players. But I was just saying, like, if you brought in Zach Ertz, you could put him at receiver, hell, if anything, and put him in different positions, kind of the way the Eagles did. But no, Trey McKitty is really, he's a solid player. I feel like he did a lot of the dirty work. And the thing is, he was at Florida State, and then he transferred to Georgia. And at Georgia, he said, I was promised a lot of things, and it just didn't come through. They didn't come through with some of the stuff that I was supposed to do. But hey, that's life. That's how this goes. So he's definitely excited. And I remember I saw on Twitter when the Chargers drafted him, they're like, who are they drafting? Why Trey McKitty? And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, he's the dirty work kind of player that you need. And also he's going to help on special teams, which is another area the Chargers were really bad at last year. And it really cost them a lot of games. So it's funny. I spoke to Lorenzo Neal, who's a former fullback for the Chargers. He's like, look, this is the formula for the Chargers to make the playoffs next year. He's like, you have to have a top 15 special teams, a top 5 offense, and a top 10 defense. He's like, if those 3 things happen, the Chargers are going to be in the playoffs next year. I'm like, that easy? He's like, that easy. And I'm like, all right, there you go. I'll take your word for it. So they really need to help out their special teams a lot this year also, because that to me is the major weakness heading into their 2021 season was the player of their special teams last year. But they drafted a couple of players that really can help. They brought in some guys like Kyle Fracker that can really help them. On special teams, and obviously he's going to have a chance to help on defense as well.
How do you feel that that they've got? What do you think their chances are when it comes to the AFC West this year coming up? I mean, obviously against a really strong Kansas City, but like you say, that offense has improved a lot, and they've brought in some really good players. Do you think they've got a shot at making the playoffs this year?
I mean, if they stay healthy and Derwin James is there the whole season, I give them a chance, because, it's funny. A couple of years ago, Derwin James' rookie year, I noticed something about him. He can cover a tight end like no one else. There's no one in the end. Like, I hear, Travis Kelce, who can cover Travis Kelce? There was a game where the Chargers played them on Thursday Night Football, and if the winner, I think if the Chargers won that game, they were going to be level-headed with the Chiefs going into the offseason. And the Chargers end up winning that game. They come from behind and they win it. And Derwin James held Travis Kelce, I believe, to like 3 catches for like 15 yards. There was a play where Patrick Mahomes throws underneath the Travis Kelce, and I thought, here comes an easy first down. Derwin comes up, grabs him, lifts him up, and throws him down. And I was like, oh, crap, like this kid can really do a lot of – and he was only a rookie. So I think they're going to be able to challenge the Chiefs. I just think Kansas City's offense is way too good. My question about Kansas City is their defense. Their defense has lost a lot of oomph. You could tell last year Tampa Bay was literally going up and down the field. A lot of teams were going up and down the field on Kansas City's defense. So that's really my question when it comes to Kansas City's team. Denver's going to be better on defense. Their offense, I still question whether it's Teddy Bridgewater or whether it's Drew Lock. Now, if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback there, then all bets are off.
Yes, it's finally happened again. Every episode, Adam. Every episode, he's leaving Green Bay, Adam. Just admit it. Submit to it.
It's going to really depend on what Denver's going to offer them, because I'm telling you right now, Denver's going to have to give up the moon for Aaron Rodgers. That's what it sounds. So I think Patrick Surtain might have to be thrown into there, or maybe a Bradley Chubb or something, because I know they're going to have to offer them a player. But yeah, that Aaron Rodgers thing makes a lot of people nervous. I think Las Vegas is going to be a little bit better this year as well. I don't know how much better, just because their receiving core, really, I have a lot of questions about it. I have a lot of questions about their defense. Now Gus Bradley, former Chargers defensive coordinator, is now there. So I think the Chargers could be the second team in the AFC West. The only thing is with Kansas City, I mean, they're Kansas City. They still have Patrick Mahomes. They still have those weapons. The only thing is, I feel like the Chargers have built this defense to really match up against them. And that's because Asante Samuel Jr., their second-round pick, is also a guy that I'm looking at. I'm like, this kid's tough. He's exactly like his dad. He's tough. He's aggressive. He has a chip on his shoulder. He really plays, and this is what I call it, pissed-off football. He seems pissed off every single time he's on the field. So he's a guy that really everybody's going to need to look at, because I think he might be the one that goes up against Tyreek Hill at times, just because of his body movement and the way he's going to be able to keep up with I mean, I don't know if he can keep up with Tyreek the whole way, but I know that he's going to be able to play well against him. But definitely, I think that I give the Chargers a fair shot, just because it's any given Sunday, really. It's really yes, it's Kansas City's division for the time being, but I know the Chargers are hungry. They have not won a division since 2009. They have not won a division in the Tom Telesco era. It's incredible. 9 seasons as a GM, and he hasn't won. That rarely ever happens for a GM to keep his job, even though he's never won the division. But the Chargers have faith in him, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see the way the Chargers kind of put it together and see if they could end up making a berth to the playoffs again.
Fernando, such insightful knowledge. I really have enjoyed you coming on with us, my man. It's been fantastic to listen to you. You are so knowledgeable about the Chargers, and Chargers for me are a team that I just like. I don't know what it is, but like there's a lot of teams that, you know, you just have a feeling where you like how they're playing, that you like the style and you like the organization. And Chargers is definitely a team for me, but I very much enjoy coming from a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I suppose we're AFC rivals, but nothing more, I suppose. But yeah, I've really enjoyed having you on, Fernando. Where can we find your writing? Where can we find your podcast and everything like that, my man?
So I appreciate you guys having me on. This was a lot of fun. I've told people I love British people. I mean, we always have fun. I was there a couple of years ago, and every pub I would go into, people would always start talking with me, and I'd be like, dude, I love British people. I was like, I like love hanging out with them. Like, they were so friendly. Every pub I went into, and there was, because it was the last time the Euros were on. I went to England, and I was cheering on England. So one guy I remember goes, I love this effing Mexican. Let's go. And he gets all excited. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. So definitely exciting to have you, for you guys to have me on. And like I said, anytime you guys need me, I'm definitely, I'm the franchise tag friend. So whenever you guys need me, I'm definitely down to come on. You can find me on social media on Instagram or Twitter at Real F Ramirez. I'm trying to do the whole TikTok thing. I'm not very knowledgeable on it. I'm gonna try and be better on that. But my writing, si.com/Chargers. That's where you can find all my articles, and the Compas podcast. We have a YouTube page, Compas on the Beat, with my co-host Gilbert Manzano. Honestly, there we just have fun. Like, Fast and Furious is coming out this week. I'm a huge WWE guy. I never got to see John Cena as a heel. From good guy to heel. Now I get to see him as a heel. I'm excited for that. I don't care if it's been 15 Fast and Furious movies. I'm going to go watch them all. I heard that Fast and Furious meets Jurassic Park could be coming out soon. They could be doing a movie. Let's do it. Dom Toretto versus a T-Rex. Hey.
Rashawn Slater plays the T-Rex.
There you
go. Short arms.
There you go. The Chargers offensive line plays the T-Rex. They're all out there. But no, definitely. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I had a lot of fun. And go England. Let's go. England.
Let's go England. 40 minutes till we start. I'm sorry, but I butchered the Compass on the Beat podcast. It sounds
good.
So good in English accent. It sounds so much better in a Mexican Spanish accent. Sorry.
No. I love it. I love it. Honestly, we're having so much fun on that podcast. We're just literally shooting the breeze. We bring on a Charger player. We had Chad Johnson on a couple of weeks ago. So definitely, we're trying to have so much fun with it. And we would appreciate if people check us out, because we're literally just two Mexican beat writers out of like probably 5 or 6 in the league. So we decided to do the podcast, and we're having a lot of fun with it. And we definitely, and again, I appreciate you, Adam, Andrew, Freddie. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, again, we appreciate being on, my friend, and you are always a franchise tag friend to us. Thank you again for coming on. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Adam. Thank you to you all. This one will be on the social media sphere to watch. We've got more Future of the Franchise videos coming your way, some live, some pre-recorded. They've been so much fun so far, and thank you so much for the support so far as well. We'll see you all soon. Have a good week, and come on, England. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.